We're in Jakarta, Indonesia. We're here for the Achilles Mogu ADGP. You know, it's the birthplace of Achilles. Indonesia, Jakarta is where Achilles factory is. It's going to be a great event. Really, really good to bring, you know, the sport to a very passionate audience. So, you know, we love coming to Asia for that one reason alone. Yeah, we're driving our original 350Z that we used in the 2012-2013 season. So the car's been in Asia before. It suits smaller tracks. Our new car's obviously a 370Z with a lot more horsepower, but this car here is really, really good. We've got a track at home where, you know, we basically built a career from on a small go-kart track in a 350Z, and it'll be really good on getting on door and being able to switch and get back on door after transition. And I feel more confident in that vehicle than if I was in my 370s that we're using for competition in Australia at the moment. We're very, very fortunate to get the opportunity to drive a Robbie Gordon Stadium Super Truck at the V8 Supercars final in Homebush. It's something I saw and had the same passion for when I saw drifting 7 years ago. I saw it on TV twice, Clipsal and Gold Coast, and I said, that's it. I started making some phone calls on the Monday to get into one for the next chance, and there happened to be a chance coming up at Sydney. Luckily, with a bit of drifting experience in the past and knowing the right people, we managed to get a deal together and drive it at Homebush, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Let's take a look at the Newlon Top 16 battle tree. The first half of the tree is done and dusted. We are onto the right-hand side of the tree now. Two-time Australian champion now, Rob Whyte. He's an Achilles driver in their hometown. But he has to represent up against a GT Radial driver now. Reggie Flandisa in the Safiro. Rob Whyte will lead as the higher qualifier on this first run. Full throttle run up. Rob Whyte throws it in, great entry. Not too bad a line, but Reggie just unable to keep up in that GT Radial Nissan Safiro, doing everything he can to dive in, but just cannot get there. And Rob Whyte is putting down a dominant lead run. Reggie has gone shallow on the line throughout the entire course, just trying to keep up, but just simply not able to do so. Loses a lot of ground on that Mogu hairpin, and Rob Whyte sails across the finish line. He will have a big advantage coming into this second run, so Reggie has a lot to do if he wants to turn it around. Take off from the start line, down the straight, and into that first Achilles Radial corner. Reggie tries to throw it in. Bit of a lazy entry, bit shallow on his line there. Rob Whyte comes in on the inside to get up on his door, but Reggie spins, and Rob Whyte makes a little bit of contact coming into that first hairpin. Let's take a look at the Achilles Radial replay now to see what happened. Rob Whyte following that shallow line, and you can see here coming into the hairpin, Reggie spins, and Rob Whyte simply has nowhere to go.
Yeah, we're just feathering around the car, and you know, it's unfortunate he made a mistake. I was hoping to have a good chase run. I actually haven't had a battle on this track yet. Even in practice, we sort of just didn't manage to get there. So it was good. It was the first time behind a car, and unfortunately he spun it. So you hate winning that way, but we'll take it.
Our last pairing in the top 8 now, Rob Whyte up against Rio SB. The judges were saying Rio was super aggressive in practice qualifying, but Rob Whyte is on a whole nother level of aggression while he's been chasing in the battles here at this event. And let's see what happens. This should be a good one. Rio SB leads. Throws it in, big entry. Rob Whyte can't match it, has a bit of a correction there, but dives in halfway through the first Achilles Radial corner, and now he is locked on target. Super aggressive, right up on the inside of Rio SB. Exactly what the judges want to see. Gives him a little bit of a kiss, has to back off, loses a little bit of drift there on that transition before coming into the Mogu hairpin, but super aggressive from Rob Whyte, but also a great lead run from Rio SB. The judges don't want to call it either way yet. They said that little mistake or two from Rob Whyte has probably offset the great chase that he did. Rio SB didn't really make any major mistakes. So let's see what happens when they switch it around now. Rio nice and close on that run-up. Rob throws it in. Rio SB was a bit lazy on that entry as well, a bit slow winding on the angle, but now he is locked on, dives in, makes a bit of contact with Rob Whyte coming into that first hairpin. They switch now. Let's see what happens for the rest of the run. Rio SB also super aggressive into the Moga Moga hairpin, but he overcooks it. Rio SB spins and loses the drift after that great battle they had. He throws it away right at the end. You can see here Rio SB just putting on a great chase run, just like Rob Whyte did. Super aggressive throughout the entire course. Right up on the door of Rob Whyte as they come through this hairpin now and switch into the Mogu Mogu hairpin, and this is where he loses the drift and hands the win to Rob Whyte.
Rob, that was probably the most intense battle of the day. Rio made a mistake through to top 4.
Yeah, look, we did a pretty good chase. And then I think he was doing a pretty good chase as well. I could feel him. He gave me a push around the first corner. So to get the win was, yeah, it was exciting. I saw him in the mirror. It's bad for him, but, it's good for us. So top 4, so it's good.
Our next pairing on the other side of the battle tree, Rob Whyte up against Andy Gray. Both Team Achilles drivers. Nissan versus Toyota for this one. Rob Whyte will have to chase. Andy Gray leads as the higher qualifier. Let's see what happens now. Rob Whyte's been super aggressive in his battles. He's lost a little bit of ground on the run-up, but now he dives in. Andy Gray, great line right out towards the wall. Now into that first hairpin. And Rob Whyte, once again, is super aggressive on the chase run, pushing up nice and close on Andy Gray. Follows him out to that outer clipping zone and is staying right where he needs to be. A great chase run from Rob Whyte. But Andy Gray, no mistakes on his lead run. The judges saying advantage to Rob Whyte on a great chase run there behind Andy Gray. Switch it around now. Rob Whyte will lead in the Achilles Motul Nissan 350Z. It's his backup car. His 370Z staying in Australia. Andy Gray will now give chase. What can he do? This is also his backup car as well. Full throttle run-up, big entry. Rob Whyte, good angle on that entry. Flicked it in well, goes nice and wide out towards the wall where the judges want him to be. Andy dives into that first pin. Washes off a little bit too much speed though, which enables Rob to get away a bit cleaner coming out of that corner. Let's see what happens now over the second half of the track. Andy Gray applying a lot of pressure, but not quite as close and aggressive as what Rob Whyte was in his chase. Rob Whyte had the advantage after the first run, and he gets right under the wall at the end, and Andy spins it around as he comes across the finish line. Let's go to the replay here, and you can see that Rob Whyte was super aggressive on his chase run. On the switch, pushes back up on the door, also follows his line as well. So not just close, but emulating the line too. So that's exactly what the judges want to see. You can see from this angle, nice and close to Andy Gray.
Rob, that was a super close battle against Andy Gray. Judges said you won it on proximity. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I mean, Andy's a great driver. He's an international driver. He does Formula Drift, the second tier Formula Drift. He does D1. He drives Japan every day. So I've always wanted to verse Andy. We've come against each other a few times, but never been able to actually battle each other. So to get a battle and have a win is really good. So,
all right, finals time now. These guys have gone at it for 3 events in a row now. The last 2 times Rob Whyte took the win, and it was further down the battle tree. Judges couldn't split them on their first run though, so they went to a rerun for this final. Brendan Greaves leads on the first run, full throttle run-up, throws it in, another great high-speed entry. Rob Whyte, super aggressive, couple little corrections there, trying to keep up. A little bit messy at the first part of turn 1. Now he's locked on though, dives in as they come through that hairpin. Into the horseshoe now to that outer clipping zone, and Rob Whyte, a little bit of contact there, super aggressive. This is what the judges want to see. Dives in that last corner, but makes contact and pushes Brendan Greaves off the track. The judges will be penalising Rob Whyte for that contact as it straightened Greaves out completely to stop the drift. So that's going to be a massive advantage to Brendan Greaves now coming into this second run. Rob Whyte's going to need to try and force a major mistake here. He leads. Full throttle now down that straightaway. Let's see what happens here. Brendan Greaves nice and close. Big entry from Rob Whyte. Bigger angle from Brendan Greaves though. Pushes right up. Super aggressive on Rob Whyte through the Achilles Radial corner. Into the hairpin now. Let's see what happens. Brendan Greaves using that supercharged V8 to his advantage. Rob Whyte throws it too big though into that hairpin and spins.
Rob, back on the podium, how does it feel?
Yeah, great. You know, it's been a hot day. We've had car troubles yesterday afternoon, and they were starting to come back towards the end of the battles today. So to get a second is just, we're ecstatic. You know, look, Brendan was on point yesterday in practice and qualifying, so you know he was always going to be the one to beat, and sure enough, he was the one that won it. So look, hometown of Indonesia for Achilles. So we're here in the Achilles car representing Achilles. So it was really good to get a good result for them as well.